and then there's some with 1 second. Now, our above analysis combined all of Hikaru's different games together in chronological order, regardless of time control. This may be reasonable since any cheating or so on might be expected to continue during different types of games. However, in this response, Kramnik vigorously objected to this, since different time controls substantially change the nature of the game. Indeed, chess.com even uses different chess ratings for blitz games and bullet games. So in this section, we redo the entire curve. Okay. And it says of the 293,000, they're 3-0. Okay. They have an equation, more equations. When restricting to just Hikaru's 35,449 at 3-0 and using the new fits S2 and D2, we find that he has just 7 streaks with raw probabilities less than 1 in 200, and a total of 16 streaks with a raw probability less than 1 in 100. Okay. Comparing table 3 with table 1, we see that several of the previous streaks remain, including the least likely one, now line 9, and the most controversial one, now line 15, though some other ones disappear or are modified, and the raw probabilities all change due to the new fits. To examine the significance of these streaks at just time control 3-0, we conducted a fresh Monte Carlo simulation using the fits, specifically actual ratings. Okay, it says we repeated the simulation 10,000 different times. Each time we recorded the 16 streaks with smallest raw probability in order and checked whether their raw probability was smaller than or equal to the corresponding raw probability from the actual data. The results are shown in table 4. Okay. Examining the first line of table 4, we see that 46.2 of the new Monte Carlo simulations had a streak with raw probability less 2 than that of Hikaru's smallest probability. Okay. Then examining subsequent line in table 4, we see that Monte Carlo probabilities are actually larger than those in table 2, 40-90%. The Monte Carlo simulation of table 4 thus indicates that when restricted to just 3-0 games with appropriate adjusted curve fits, Hikaru's streaks are still not at all unexpected over his full history. Restricting to just 3-0 time control games makes small changes to the expected score and draw probability formula, but does not show any additional evidence of surprising win streaks. Okay. Fitting the curve. Okay. The curve fit should be done excluding games played by me. Okay. Whatever. What do we get? More math. To proceed, we again use the players and streaks. Okay. Let's see what they say. Comparing table 5 with 4, we see that they are very similar, and in fact the Monte Carlo percentages are higher. This means that Hikaru's streaks at time control 3+0 are actually slightly less surprising when using the fits S3 and D3 than when using the fits S2 and D2. In any case, the conclusion is the same once again. By this new measure, Hikaru's game record does not show evidence of surprising winning streaks. Okay, what else is new? In the critique, Kramnik mentions a number of specific recent Hikaru pure winning streaks, that is streak consisting of wins only with no draws, and wonders why they were not considered particularly surprising in Rosenthal 2024A and 2024B. Several of these involve Hikaru's games on February 16, 17, 2024, which, by the way, I think were live streamed when I hammered. I beat Chess Brainiac like 20 games in a row, by the way, if I'm not mistaken. And he kept playing that bad line in the Gurganidze. So we take a closer look at those two specific dates. Now, Hikaru played a total of 230 games on those 2 days, a huge amount in his games, number 54,665 through 54,894. Of these, 129 were at time control 3+0, and 101 were at 1+0. Okay. Let's scroll down. For the 34 game streak, Hikaru's mean rating was 3276, while his opponent's mean rating was 2882. See, this is what I was saying. I've said before, like, that's also why my rating can't go up from here. For anyone who's wondering, if I could keep beating at 2,900 and get +2, I think I'd get my rating like 3,700. But the problem is above 2,950, I think there are very, very few people who I can farm anymore. I think everybody's simply too good, to be honest. I think everybody's just a little bit too good. So that's just how it is. So just the reality. Like that's why my rating can't go up, because I can't beat 3,000s by a big enough margin, because there aren't enough overrated 3,000s or 3,100s anymore. Okay, streaks in the year 2024. Let's scroll down to 15. Okay, comparing Hikaru and Carlsen opponents. The critique of Kramnik raised the issue of why Hikaru has so many more long winning streaks than top player Magnus Carlsen. Main reason, by the way, without getting into any math, is because Magnus doesn't take online blitz seriously, and he only plays the big tournaments like Title Tuesday. If Magnus was serious about online blitz, he would have some serious streaks as well. Indeed, we have seen that Hikaru 21 streaks with raw probability 1 in 200, but meanwhile Carlsen had just one huge difference. Furthermore, Hikaru had several streaks of more than 100 games, while Carlsen's longest was 32, another huge difference. So by any measure, Hikaru had far more win streaks than Carlsen. That raises the question, does this provide evidence of irregularities, or can it be explained in a way that is consistent with statistical expectations? First explanation, of course, is that Hikaru has played 57,000 games, whereas Magnus has played 5,100, so we'd expect Hikaru to have more longer streaks just by virtue of more games. Okay. Further insight, Hikaru's rating averaged 3130, meaning my rating had an average of 3130. Carlson averaged 32.27, meaning that Magnus plays a higher caliber of player. What else is surprising, because Magnus only plays Title Tuesday. However, Hikaru's opponent's mean rating was just 2730, giving him a rating of plus 400. Again, look at that. Look at that. That's what is Magnus? Yeah, my average rating was 2730. Magnus's average rating for his opponents was 2985. That says it all, doesn't it? Like when I'm getting these streaks, I'm just, the average rating of my opponents was 2730, and Magnus was playing 3000. I mean, that literally in a nutshell sums it up. Okay, this sums it up. Okay, let's scroll. Okay, so this can also be seen by looking at the histograms of the two players' ratings. The graph shows Hikaru's rating in red spreads out from 50 to 600 with tail ends, blah, blah, blah. So compared to Carlson, Hikaru has played a lot more opponents with much lower ratings. What a surprise. This fact, in addition to simply playing many more games, provides a sound statistical explanation for why Hikaru has so many more winning streaks than Carlson does. Exactly. Number 16, discussion. The statistical analysis presented here shows that Hikaru does indeed have many long winning streaks in his online chess play, including his recent controversial 46 game streak, and many others, and some of them do have quite low raw probabilities. However, Monte Carlo simulations indicate that his streaks are well within the range of what would be expected. Of course, every statistical analysis requires making some choice regarding definitions, which of course I'm sure someone will harp on again. But it says, hence the overall conclusion that the streaks observed in Hikaru's chess.com record are fairly typical given the player's ratings over Hikaru's long record of games appear to be quite robust. Okay. This conclusion is heavily influenced by Hikaru's rating advantage over his opponents. What else is new? As discussed here, and Hikaru has played many games against opponents with far lower ratings, much more so than other top-level players such as Carlson, mainly because I'm a streamer and I love playing Blitz online, above and beyond anything else. It's also why my rating can't fall too low currently, in my opinion, because if I think that 2800, 2950s are still ripe, they're still overjuiced, then if my rating falls like 3100, I should just be able to pound at 2700 30 games in a row. That's how I look at it. That's actually how I look at it. It's basically like my rating should never really fall below 3100, because I should basically be able to just pound 2700s at game after game after game, because they are overrated relative to me. So that's why I don't think my rating should ever go super low. Now, it might be possible Hikaru's chess rating is inflated for whatever reason. An issue is not investigated here. Well, of course, like my rating right now is inflated at 3320 or whatever it is. I think my fair value is like 3250, 3270. But again, as long as there are enough 2900s that I can farm, my rating is always going to stay high. It's important to note that the existence of unexpected streaks is distinct from the issue of cheating. For example, one player might improve their skill over a short period of time due to higher concentration, motivation, and preparation, and thus perform much better than their ratings would indicate. This might lead to many unexpected streaks, even without any cheating. Conversely, another player who cheats in all games in a consistent and regular manner might manage to obtain a very high chess rating. That would in turn make their winning streaks appear to be expected, so a study of streaks would never arouse suspicion despite their cheating ways. Or even simpler, a player might decide to cheat only in every second game, leading to an unfairly successful record. But nevertheless, creating no long win streaks since they would lose many of their intervening honest games. Hence, the examination presented here should be viewed as merely investigating the presence of unexpected streaks, not the broader issue of cheating in chess online. Okay. Finally, here we go. Here comes the good stuff. Finally, it was insinuated in the comments of Kramnik that I might be biased, that is manipulating statistical analysis in a deliberate effort to protect Hikaru and deny the existence of unexpected streaks. I am confident that this is not the case. As a professional academic, I always attempt to seek the truth in an unbiased way. Furthermore, as I learned from my work on high-profile lottery retailer scandal, finding clear evidence of cheating or other irregularities would have led to more excitement and attention and glory for me, not less. So to the extent that I had any personal motivation in this analysis, I actually hope to find some evidence. However, despite my best efforts, I did not find any evidence of suspicious behavior in Hikaru's online chess winning streak. So, okay, pretty much sums up everything. He thanks everybody for the data. It looks like the author had no conflict of interest to declare and receive no compensation from chess.com. But yeah, bottom line, as I said at the start of this, is like it's all from the start. It's been complete nonsense. But the thing that's more important is that like Kramnik really ignores the fact that like farming is a huge thing. Like I just farm. Like I farm. Like that's what I do. Now I don't do it as much as I once did, but I always believe that I'll be able to find some 2900 who I can just pound over and over again for +2 every game and just like dominate. So this was by